Hello, and welcome back to Tina Ranks Every Broadway Musical, the Mega Ranking episode. If you don't know, I fell behind on the Broadway 2-a-day challenge, and so I decided to catch up by listening to several musicals in a day, sometimes up to 8 or 9, maybe sometimes 4, an average of 6.5 musicals per day. It has been a painful experience. I wake up, I listen to a download musical. I go to work. I listen to a musical that is on Spotify. I go to work. I return home from work listening to a musical on Spotify. And then I return home to listen to even more musicals. I felt like Sisyphus rolling his boulder up a hill only to have it fall down again and for me to roll it back up again. But the good news is that I am all caught up now. I am currently at present day, today September 1st when I'm recording this. It's Rent Day. We're listening to Rent. That's fun. Spiel. The Broadway 2-a-day challenge is a challenge created by Stacey Muscati Moore, aka Theater Kid Audition Coach on TikTok. You know, you listen to every Broadway musical that's been on Broadway between the years of 1950 and 2020 by listening to 2 musicals per day. Fun. We have a Discord server too. Yeah. I'm gonna be ranking every musical on an S through F scale. S is wow, great. A is cool, good. B is alright, not for me, but I can see why other people like it, or I don't know what to give it. C is okay, it was good, but I don't remember anything about it. D is oh no, I don't remember anything about it because it was boring. And F is no, stop, do not pass go, it is horrible, it is racist, it is somethingist, or I just couldn't finish it because it was so bad. And there's the secret ranking of L for lost to time because some musicals just don't have a recording, whether it is legal or very much not legal. So let us take a moment to commemorate. Goodbye. You were good but not good enough. So please don't ask why. Simply say goodbye. Great. All right. I'm trying to keep this short because we've got a lot of musicals to cover and I know for sure that no one will watch this all the way through. So, with that being said, let's get ranking. First up in the ranking is the month of June, which covers musicals from 1975 to 1980-ish. Very Good Eddie, 3 couples and a voice teacher board a boat, hilarity ensues. The line, the world is a rat trap and I am the cheese, stood out to me, but otherwise it's fine. I give it a C. Chicago! 2 women due on trial for murder compete for media attention. What an iconic classic. The music, the dancing, the design choices in the revival production. Are you kidding me? Of course this is an S. Truckload. I searched high and low for a good synopsis and all I found was that it was about, quote, Americans in transit. So your guess is as good as mine. It's fine. It closed before it ever officially opened and I'm okay with that, honestly. This is a C. A chorus line. A group of aspiring dancers audition to be in the ensemble of a musical. The show is obviously iconic and the music is very good. I also really appreciate how it brought the concept musical into the mainstream, and despite it being about the industry, it's very compelling. I give it an A. Scott Joplin's Tremonisha. A woman runs into trouble with a group of conjurers. Okay, this is not a musical. This is an opera, and the music is good, but it's an opera. I'm gonna give it a B and we'll move on. Me and Bessie. It's a review about the life of blues singer Bessie Smith. I quite like this one. I recommend giving it a go. I give it a B. A Musical Jubilee. It's a review about the history of Broadway. Can I make the criticism of, oh, it's about the industry yet? I kind of tuned out once they started singing Skip to My Lou, and then they finally turned around in Act 2. It was fine. I think it's a little bit too long, and I probably won't be listening to it again. I give it a C. Bubbling Brown Sugar. It's a musical review, but Harlem Renaissance. I mean, I can't complain about the recording. The performers are very talented and the music is actually very good and catchy. Okay, A it is. Home Sweet Homer. It's the Odyssey. We don't have to tiptoe around it. Apparently, this show was one of the biggest flops ever. The producers wanted to cut it off after its tour and not go to Broadway, but lead actor Yul Brynner of inappropriately cast The King and I fame insisted they go to New York, so they had one opening night and then posted the closing notice almost immediately after. the drama. The music isn't terrible. I feel like I always say that, but sometimes it really is true. If the music was terrible, it's not like very likely it got to Broadway. It is kind of boring, however. I ended up stopping halfway through, so that's an F. Pacific Overtures. Two friends navigate a friendship as Japan is forced to open their gates to the outside world. It was fine. It was very obviously Sondheim based on the lyrics, but I wasn't very interested in it. I give it a B. Minus. Rockabye Hamlet! A prince plots revenge after his uncle kills his father. It's Hamlet. You know Hamlet. It's not terrible. There's only 10 songs recorded because, if I recall correctly, the composer recorded them himself because the show itself closed after 7 performances. I give it a C because I feel like most of the experience about this flop is involved with the actual performance itself, and we have no clue what it was like now. Rex! It's Henry VIII. You know how Six the Musical focused on the wives? Yeah, this is the opposite of that. It was fine enough, but I'm kind of done with the Golden Age sound at this point. I give it a C. So Long 174th Street. A man goes from factory worker to actor in 3 days. I could do without the song Undressing Girls with My Eyes because... But I did like the song Men, and the rest of the music is annoyingly catchy. I give it an A. Minus. Threepenny Opera. An outlaw ends up in jail over and over again before being pardoned by the Queen. I actually wrote a 10-page paper on the show back in college, so I have a lot of extensive knowledge about the symbolism and stuff. Anyways, I really do enjoy the music in this one. The Ballad of Mac the Knife is just... Sorry, there's a fly. I really do enjoy the music in this one. The Ballad of Mac the Knife is just... And the rest of the songs are also very good. I give it an A. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. A group of actors put on a play about the history of the White House. The only recording that exists is 3 hours long. Look, Leonard Bernstein, your music is obviously great, but I can't be bothered to pay attention or remember this one. So this is a D. Something's afoot. A group of people gather at a house where they must then solve a murder. It's quite fun. The ending had me legitimately shocked. It's a good time. I highly recommend checking the slime tutorial if you can. This is an A. Godspell. It's the Bible, basically, from what I gleaned in the Wikipedia. It's fine. I can see why people like it, but I strongly dislike this style of music. Sorry, Stephen Schwartz. This is a B. Let My People Come. It's a review, but I literally cannot think of an appropriate way to describe what this show is about. It's not for children. It's fine, but I don't know if I'm comfortable talking about the songs. Let's just give it a B- and move on. The Robber Bridegroom. An upstanding citizen disguises himself as a bandit and also love happens, I think. I actually like this one. Like, a lot. I didn't expect to love the country sound of the show, but it actually works really well, and the songs are very effective at telling the story. I've heard the general consensus that the 2016 revival recording is better than the original, which may throw off my rating because I listened to revival, but my point still stands. This is an A. Music is... A woman disguises herself as a man and begins to serve as a confidant for her duke while also accidentally charming the woman who the duke is in love with. It's Twelfth Night. You know Shakespeare's Twelfth Night? It's that. It's fine. That's probably all I can say. It's not outstanding, but it's not a dreadful experience. I give it a C. Your arm's too short to box with God. You know the Book of Matthew? Because I don't, and that's the only synopsis I could find. So, yes. We don't have access to all the songs, which is a bummer because it isn't terrible and I'd really want to hear the full thing. This is a B. Ipi Tombi. A man leaves his village and his wife to work in the mines of Johannesburg. It's a very good listen, and I'd recommend giving it a go, even if I'm not the biggest fan. I give it a B. I Love My Wife. Two married couples who are close friends contemplate a foursome. I didn't know what to expect from the show, but I was pleasantly surprised. The music is very good. I love the 4-part harmonies that it opens up with. This is an A. Side by Side by Sondheim. It's a review. But Sondheim. I mean, if you like Sondheim, you're going to like listening to it. I prefer my Sondheim to be in the context of shows, but whatever, I'll give it a B. Let's move on. Annie. An orphan girl gets taken in by a rich man wanting to boost its public image. Wholesome good times ensue. I was very much dreading listening to this, but... okay, it won me over. It's very good. Maybe there's a reason it's become overdone and tropes to no end. I give it an A. Going Up. An author learns to fly a plane as a publicity stunt. This show was a revival of a musical written in 1917. It is 104 years old. Oh, that boggles my mind. Anyway, I've forgotten everything about it already. This is a C. Happy End. A gang in the Salvation Army have a dispute. The music is good. I couldn't really get into it. And also, it's from 1929. I give it a C. The Act. A film star tries to make a comeback as a Las Vegas singer. It's a good time. Liza Minnelli? Yes. Will I ever listen to it again? Probably not. Do I still think it's worth checking out? Yes. I give it a B. Timbuktu. Okay, so do you remember the 1953 musical Kismet from back in January? They took that story and put it in Timbuktu instead. Same music team and everything. And to add one final insult, we don't even have access to all the songs. We do, however, have Stranger in Paradise disco version. And I think that, and Eartha Kitt, is the only reason this show is getting a D and not an F. Of all the musicals one could possibly redo, why this one? Dancin'. It's a review about dancing, featuring choreography by Bob Fosse, which makes it just a little unfair to be judging a show that is about dancing by its music, a combination of classical and Yankee Doodle disco. Yes, that is the name of one of the songs. There is one song that actually does show the dancing, I Wanna Be a Dancin' Man, and it's very compelling to watch, but then again, it's Fosse, what else do you expect? We'll give it a B- and call it a day. Ain't Misbehavin'. It's a review inspired by the music of Thomas Fats Waller. Was that Andre DeShields in the recording? Yes, it was. What a fun time it was listening to it. I couldn't even tell that an hour and a half had gone by. I think it is criminal that the revival doesn't have a recording. This is an A. Angel. Two brothers run a boarding house under the control of their mother. Do you know the 1929 novel Look Homeward, Angel? Yeah, I didn't think so either. But the author of that adapted her book into a play, which later got adapted into this. Richard Eater of the New York Times called it a damp and oppressive amalgam of bathos. It has lyrics of the consistency of cornbread soaked in milk, a whole collection of indifferent performances, and a score of sufficient banality to furnish a number or two for the piped music on airplanes waiting to take off. Harsh. I thought it was fine. It wasn't as terrible as Richard Eater made it out to be. I definitely wiped it from my memory, though. This is a C. On the 20th Century, a movie director tries to recruit an actress who is also his former lover to be in his film. Also, they're on a train. The music was super good and very enjoyable. I just don't know if it's for me. I give it a B. Plus, Runaways. A group of children tell their stories about why they became runaways. I love the concept of the show, and the music is quite interesting. I don't know if I would consider it one of the favorites, but I'd put it high up on the list. I give it a B. Working! A collection of stories from the working class of America. I think this one was a nice time, but I don't know if I'll be listening to it again. I give it a B. The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. A brothel in Texas faces shutdown after a news reporter cracks down on the law. I didn't know what to expect walking in, but I actually enjoyed it. A lot. The Watchdog theme is annoyingly catchy, and the performers on the recording are very talented. I give it an A. King of Hearts. A man defuses a bomb in a French village where only the insane asylum residents remain and declare him king. I really appreciate the themes and questions the show asks, and the music is quite catchy. Apparently the show didn't do too well because there was a 3-month newspaper strike and therefore not much advertising. Overall, it's okay, but I don't really wish to listen to it again. This is a C. Platinum. A movie star tries to make a comeback, falling in love with a rock star along the way. I think it was fine. I don't really remember it. This is a C. Ballroom. A widow falls in love again at a social dance club. I enjoyed it. I don't really feel like elaborating. This is an A. A Broadway musical. A white producer attempts to adapt a black playwright's play into a musical. Do you remember the 1964 musical Golden Boy from March? This is inspired by the story of how it became a musical. I remember nothing from it. This is a D. It was at this point that I realized I have listened to at least 50 musicals over the course of 2 weeks. Why did I do this to myself? The Grand Tour. A man who owns a car but can't drive teams up with a man who can drive but has no car to escape from the Nazis. I quite enjoyed this one, actually. I think I'm just becoming a fan of Jerry Herman because he also did Mac and Mabel, which I really loved. This is an A. They're playing our song. A composer and lyricist form an unlikely duo. But also this feels very likely. The music just screams 70s vibes. I don't know how to describe it because I don't have the proper vocabulary, but it's just so 70s. And I don't think I like 70s music. I don't know, it's debatable because I wrote that when I said I don't think I like 70s music, but then I looked at a list of songs that I have saved to my Spotify, and a lot of them are from the 70s, so I don't know what's true anymore. Anyways, this is a C. Beatlemania. It's a review chronicling the history of the Beatles. I mean, if you listen to the Beatles' top hits, you're going to get the same listening experience. This is really dependent on if you like the Beatles or not. I'm giving this a B purely because it's just Beatles songs and nothing else. The show is about the Beatles, it's not some new subversion or anything. UB! It's a review with music by UB Blake. Am I surprised that reviews are still going on until late 70s? Yes. Am I upset at this? Not really. This one was actually very good. I had a good time listening to it. I give it an A. It was at this point I realized I did my math wrong because I was subtracting from 146 musicals instead of a continually growing number, and I had actually, in fact, listened to approximately 91 musicals! Whoopee! Not to be confused with Whoop Up from, like, February. A sheriff and a rancher's daughter are supposed to get married, but of course, there's problems. This show is a revival from 1928. Do you think people in the 70s felt as sick of revivals of stuff from the 20s as we do about stuff from the 70s today? It's fine. I kept thinking it's an Oklahoma light, even if that isn't necessarily true. Also, there's a song that I'm pretty sure is a mockery of Native American culture, so, this is an F. Sarava. A widow gets remarried, but she is haunted by the ghost of her first husband. I don't know. I wiped it from my memory immediately after listening to it. This one also has disco renditions of some songs, which is just giving me so many questions about musicals of the 70s and why they have disco versions of their songs. This is a D. Sweeney Todd. A barber takes revenge on the judge who sent him to prison and ruined his life, teaming up with a woman who owns a failing pie shop. The music. Masterful. The story. Haunting. The moral quandaries. I love it. This is obviously an S tier. Carmelina. A woman hides from her daughter the identity of her father, but only because she doesn't know who it is between three GIs. Do you know Mamma Mia? It's Mamma Mia, but Italian. The music is fine, but your listening experience is going to consist of someone's video recording of the album, which includes them looming over the corner of the camera. I forgot most of it anyway. This is a C. The Utter Glory of Morrissey Hall. Drama happens at a girls' school in England. That's probably the simplest way I can put it, because the Wikipedia synopsis is really something else. I quite enjoyed this one, but the less interesting second half and the very strange story keeps it from being an A. So this is a B. I Remember Mama. A writer recalls the life of her Norwegian immigrant family. I mean, if you've listened to anything Rodgers and Hammerstein, even if they're working with other people, you've heard it all. According to Wikipedia, this was Richard Rodgers' last musical, so does that mean we're finally free of Rodgers and Hammerstein? No! This is a C. Minus. Got to Go Disco. A woman becomes the queen of disco at a dance club. I couldn't really pay attention to it. I give it a D. For disco. The Mad Woman of Central Park. A woman balances between her life as an actress and being a mother. Am I allowed to say, oh, it's about the industry yet? I think it's fine. The Woman's Medley or whatever it's called is fun, but I really don't care for this one. It has a pro shot on YouTube if you're inclined to check it out, but I give it a C. But Never Jam Today. A girl finds herself in a very strange land with eccentric characters. It's Alice in Wonderland. Those of you who know me personally may or may not know that I have a slight obsession with Alice in Wonderland, and I have yet to be impressed with modern musical adaptations in Alice in Wonderland. And unfortunately, the pattern continues. This is a C. Evita. Inspired by the life of Eva Perón, a woman rises to notoriety as the wife of the president of Argentina. Oh, Andrew Lloyd Webber. I think this one is fine. It's not really my favorite, but I can appreciate it for what it is. The iconic songs in this show really stand out for a reason, and I do appreciate Lament. I give it a B. Plus, the 1940s Radio Hour. A radio station records a broadcast for soldiers during World War II. There's full productions of this one that aren't Broadway available on YouTube if you're interested in checking it out. I think it's a good time, but I can't say it's going to be a show I remember. I give it a C. Plus, Sugar Babies. It's a review about burlesque. It's fine. I remember nothing from it. This is a C. Comin' Uptown. It's a Christmas carol, but now it's set in Harlem. I don't really care for it, and I was glad to finish listening to it. This is a D. Welcome to the 80s. We made it to the 80s. Happy New Year. A Wall Street attorney decides to abandon his career in favor of a more laid-back lifestyle. I remember nothing from it. This is a D. Barnum. It's about B.T. Barnum. Yup. I'm not a big fan of the concept, which is a shame because the music is annoyingly good and catchy. I give it a B. A Day in Hollywood, A Night in Ukraine. The first half is a review about Hollywood, the second half is an adaptation of Anton Chekhov's The Bear. It wasn't terrible. The standout for me is doing the production code because I really enjoy rhythmic talking with tap dance, but otherwise I do not remember it. I give it a C. Plus? Musical chairs. An off-Broadway audience watches a show. Very meta. The music is really fun and lighthearted. I also really appreciate the ballads. I don't think this should have been on Broadway. I definitely think it would have fared better off Broadway, not just because of the meta. I give it a B. 42nd Street. A Broadway producer puts on a show during the Great Depression. Oh, it's about the industry. It's fine. I can see why people would like it, especially with the titular number, but I'm not a fan of it. I give it a B. And that is all the musicals for the month of June. Fun! We are now moving on to July. The month of July covers from the years 1981 to around 1986. Ish. Duke Ellington's Sophisticated Ladies. It's a review with Duke Ellington music. I mean, it's Duke Ellington. If you like jazz, you're gonna like this one. There's a full recording of a performance on YouTube, and I really think it's better if you watch some of the dancing that goes along with the music. I give it a B. Charlie and Algernon. After a successful trial on a mouse, a mentally challenged man undergoes an experimental treatment to become intelligent. It's Flowers for Algernon. I remember nothing from it. This is a D. One Night Stand. A playwright contemplates his life until he falls in love with an actress. Is this about the industry? It was fine. I still remember nothing from it. This is a C. Perfectly Frank. It's a review featuring music by Frank Loesser. I mean, it's guys and dolls and other stuff. I don't know. At this point, I was getting kind of sick of reviews. I know, shocking contrast from January Tina, who loved reviews. I give it a C. The Mooney Shapiro Songbook. A fictional songwriter rises to fame and notoriety. Oh, it's about the industry. The songs are all pastiches, so it was actually quite fun to listen to. I think it might work really well with a rework, especially to get rid of an unnecessary slur. This is a B. Tintypes. It's a review covering the history of America from the turn of the 20th century to World War I. The only America-related song I enjoy, and this is a real-life fact, not just anything related to the Broadway realm, is Stars and Stripes Forever. Anything else I can do without. So this is a C. Minus. Onward Victoria. A woman and her sister become millionaires by running a brokerage firm. I think it was good. I don't remember it. I gave it a C. Plus. That's surprising. Bring Back Birdie. 20 years after the events of Bye Bye Birdie, a man must get a singer to perform at the Grammys. Besides my disdain for musical sequels, the music is bad. Like, almost unbearably so. I'm sure in another timeline I thought it was fine, but right now, I really don't think it's worth your time. Maybe there's a reason it closed after 4 performances. This is an F. Woman of the Year. A TV personality and cartoonist struggle to merge their careers with their marriage. I quite enjoyed this one, more than I thought I would, and I also always appreciate an alto lead. This is an A. Copperfield. It's a coming-of-age story based on David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. Because of life getting in the way, I ended up listening to this in 3 different sessions, and I still couldn't tell you anything about it. This is a D. Marlowe. The life of playwright Christopher Marlowe is now a rock musical. I know the Phantom of the Opera didn't come along until later, but the beginning of The Ends Justify the Means sounds exactly like da 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 da, you know, that Phantom has. Otherwise, it's fine. It's super 80s. I give it a C. Oh, Brother! A man travels to the Middle East to search for his lost twin sons. It's a bit more convoluted than that, but that's the simplest way to put it. I think the music is thematically inappropriate given the setting, but I'm also very happy that's the case. It's surprisingly good. Or maybe I'm just tired of listening to boring musicals. I give it a B. Merrily We Roll Along. Told in reverse chronological order, a songwriter loses his friendships in favor of an illustrious career. I think the concept is fantastic, but this show is well known for how spectacularly it failed in its original execution. I think the music is fine, and Opening Doors is obviously a standout, but otherwise it's not really my favorite in the world. I give it a B. The First. Jackie Robinson is drafted to play baseball. There's a song in it called This Year's not a nice word that I felt very comfortable listening to, and I had to skip. Like, I understand its diegetic need, but we really don't need that kind of energy in the 21st century. You know, this is an F. Dreamgirls! A girl group rises to stardom. Also, a lot of drama happens. The music is very good. I had a good time listening to it. But I don't know if I'll be listening to it again, but it feels mean to give it a B when it clearly deserves better, so I'm giving it an A. Minus. The Little Prince and the Aviator. It's The Little Prince, but also crossed with the story from the author of the original book. It was fine. I remember nothing from it, though. This is a C. Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It's Joseph from the Book of Genesis. Oh, Andrew Lloyd Webber. I actually never listened to this show before this challenge. And you know what? I get it now. Okay? I get why so many people like it. This is an A. Pump Boys and Danettes. A performance group dramatized their life experiences in song. The music in this one was quite enjoyable, but I can't say I would listen to it again. This is a B. Little Johnny Jones. An American horse jockey competes in London. Hilarity ensues. This is a revival of a show from 1904. This musical is 117 years old. The song Yankee Doodle Boy has a medley of a lot of American songs, and you already know my feelings about American songs. But despite my grievances, I actually really liked this one. It was a fun time. I'd give it a B. Is There Life After High School? A collection of various high school experiences. I enjoyed it quite a lot. It does give off strong 80s vibes, and I don't think this show works on Broadway, but it's a nice local theater thing, perhaps. I give it an A. Minus. 9. A film director struggles to write a film while being haunted by the women of his past. If you listen to this on Spotify, your experience is going to be limited because the only soundtrack I could find was from the movie, but regardless, I really enjoyed this one a lot. I give it an A. Do black patent leather shoes really reflect up? A group of 8 Chicago students grow up in Catholic school. Some of the songs were decent, but a good amount of them were not, so it felt kind of like a roulette of what the next song would be. I give it a C. Really? I give it a C? Oh, I guess that makes sense. Okay. Blues in the Night. 3 women tell the tale of a cheating man. You could listen to a blues album. Literally any blues album and get the same experience because the songs aren't really connected to the story in any way. I give it a C. Cleavage. A variety of couples, both young and old, pursue love. That's what Playbill.com says, so that's all I've got for you. I remember nothing from it. This is a C. Oh, just a string of C musicals. It's gonna keep going, sorry, spoiler alerts. Play Me a Country Song. A group of friends gather to celebrate at a bar before it is torn down. Okay. Say it with me now. It was fine, but I remember nothing from it. This is a C. 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. A man tries to find wives for himself and his 6 brothers. Chaos ensues. I totally get the cultural significance of this show, but I remember nothing from it. This is a C. A Doll's Life. You know the Ibsen play A Doll's House? You know the sequel written by Lucas Nath, A Doll's House Part 2? It's like that, but musical. First of all, I think it is contradictory of the original play's intentions to have Nora get involved with 3 different men after she just left her husband, and completely undermines this show's intentions to provide a new frame for A Doll's House. Anyway, the music is whatever. There was a duet with a good 30 seconds where the 2 singers debated on 10 and 12 and settled on 11, and I was just like, why am I here? The last song is actually very compelling, but then again, like, where was that 10 songs ago, you know? I give it a D. Cats! It's cats! I'm kidding. A group of cats determines who gets to be reincarnated. Maybe I should have just kept it at cats. I'll admit, I kind of had a grudge against Cats until this year, and then I actually listened to it all the way through. Okay, I get it now. Curse you, Andrew Lloyd Webber. This is an S. Merlin! A young wizard trains before he becomes a part of King Arthur's story. This one actually wasn't too bad. I wasn't interested at first, but then at some point halfway through, I started to have a good time. So this is a B. My one and only. A man attempts to be the first person to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. Hilarity ensues. I mean, if you like Gershwin songs, you're gonna like this show, because that's what the music is. That being said, I forgot I listened to this and had to look it up again, because it was that unmemorable. I give it a C. Plus, Dance a Little Closer. A group of people celebrate the new year with an impending nuclear apocalypse on the horizon. Frighteningly relevant. I was pleasantly surprised by this one. It's very enjoyable, albeit a little reminiscent of pre-1980s musicals. But, yeah, I like this one. I give it an A. Showboat. Drama happens on a showboat. Who could have guessed? I thought we were safe from Rodgers and Hammerstein, but those dang revivals sneak in. It's fine. I don't really care for it too much. It sounds so much like other Rodgers and Hammerstein shows, I'm actually kind of sick of it. I give it a D. La cage aux folles. I don't speak French. A gay couple's son brings his fiance's conservative parents to meet them. Shenanigans ensue. I quite enjoyed this one, actually. I'd like to give it another try when I'm not as musical brain dead. I give it an A. Amen Corner. A pastor struggles with her teenage son and the return of her long-gone husband. This show was really good. I love the gospel sound. My big complaint is that most of the songs are barely 2 to 3 minutes, and I just wanted more. I give it a B. Plus, Marilyn, An American Fable, a fictionalized account of the life of Marilyn Monroe. I had no idea what was happening, and that's all I remember about it. The New York Times Review mentions 10 chorus boys dressed in pink plumbers' costumes, so I think that's a good summation of it. I give it a D. It is at this point that I, right now, have realized that I've been talking for 40 minutes straight, and I did not prepare for this as an actor. Alright, back into it. Doonesbury. Based on the comic strip of the same name, a group of college students prepare for graduation. I had such high hopes after hearing the first song, but then it kind of went downhill and the rest of the music just screamed generic 80s. I give it a C. We are now at the point in the normal schedule where I decided to catch up on 146 musicals. I did this next part in 11 days. Baby. 3 couples expect a baby. Each of them are expecting their own baby. It's not like they're all waiting on one baby. There's 3 potential babies here at play. This was a fun time. I wouldn't say it's worthy of being an all-time favorite, and I probably won't listen to it again, but I think it's worth checking out. I give it a B. Plus, Peg, a musical autobiography. Peggy Lee sings songs and talks about her life. It's almost self-explanatory. I think it was fine. I'm not a big fan of Peggy Lee's voice. I gave it a D. The Tap Dance Kid. A boy wants to become a tap dancer, but his lawyer father disapproves. Tell me why this plot made me immediately think of Happy Feet, even though there's no relevance. Just this one is strange because some of the songs were genuinely very enjoyable, and I was willing to put this at an A or a B, but other songs are just borderline terrible and dull. I give it a B minus. The Rink. A woman sells her roller skating rink to developers and also reconnects with her daughter. Don't. Ah, Mommy is a standout, and the rest of the music is a pretty good time. I give it a B. The Human Comedy. It's a coming-of-age story with a telegram messenger in a small town during World War II. Remember Dude and Via Galactica from, like, May's ranking video? Same composer. Fun. This show has 86 tracks. Granted, all the tracks are like barely a minute, but still, who organized this? The music was fine, but I remember nothing from it. This is a C. Sunday in the Park with George. A painter works on a masterpiece, and there's like other stuff too. Ah, Sondheim. I like the music of this one a lot, and I think that's all I'm going to say for now. I give it an A. Oh yeah, I had intended to watch the Ahem Slime tutorial, but never got around to it. I'll keep you posted. The Three Musketeers. It's The Three Musketeers. This show did the thing again where I wasn't interested at first, but then I started having a good time listening halfway through. I give it a B minus. Harrigan and Hart. A comedy duo rise and fall out of fame. You know Mark Hamill of Star Wars fame? He was in this. He played Hart. Small world. It was a nice listen, but I wouldn't say it's worth your time. I give it a C. Leader of the Pack. Inspired by the life of Elle Greenwich, a girl becomes a famous musician. This one was pretty fun. If you like 50s and 60s music, I'd say give this one a go. I don't know if it's the greatest of musicals, especially story-wise, but I still enjoyed listening to it. I give it a B. Grind. Drama happens in the burlesque house. This was an overall good time. I highly recommend listening to it. Again, the story is something else, if the very long Wikipedia synopsis is an indicator of anything. I give it a B. Big River. It's Huckleberry Finn. I actually really enjoyed this one. The country/bluegrass sound was justified and worked really well. Again, I think non-brain dead Tina would really like this one. I give it an A. Quilters. Various stories about the life of pioneer women are told through song. I definitely ended up listening to this out of order because I didn't want to watch the full 2-hour production. I think it was fine. I can see why other people might like it, but it's not really my thing. I give it a B minus. Singing in the Rain. Silent film actors adjust to talking movies. Also, love happens. I think. It's not like it's a central plot point or anything. Uh-oh. Look. I understand it's a movie musical staple, and the titular song is obviously iconic. The rest of it is just fine. One might argue that it's even forgettable. Oh no, please don't come for me. Look, I gave it a B, okay? Okay. Jerome Kern Goes to Hollywood. It's a review of Jerome Kern songs that have been in Hollywood movies. It was fine. I remember nothing from it. This is a C. Song and dance. The first act is a one-woman musical, and the other half is a dance performance. You get it? Song and dance. Oh, Andrew Lloyd Webber. I didn't care much for the song part, and while I enjoyed the dance part, it reeks of Andrew Lloyd Webber. I definitely heard School of Rock melodies in there several times. The song half gets a D, and the dance half gets a B, so let's just average that and put it at a C. Jerry's Girls. It's a review of Jerry Herman songs. What year are we in, 1985? Reviews died out eventually, right? January Tina would be appalled at me hating reviews right now. That being said, this challenge has shown me that I'm a fan of Jerry Herman musicals, so I think this gets an A. Yep. The News. A news editor's teenage daughter inspires a man to go on a killing spree. That's the easiest way to put it. I can't say I remembered any of the music, nor do I really care to. This is a D. Tango Argentino. It's about the history of the Argentine tango. According to Wikipedia, the show started in Paris and then became an international sensation with productions all over the world and people taking an interest in tango. It was a cultural reset, some may say. It's hard to judge this show because so much of it is rooted in the tango dancing itself, which we obviously cannot watch. The music was good though, so I gave it an A. The Mystery of Edwin Drood. It's a murder mystery with multiple different endings. Fun! Seriously though, I enjoyed this one so much. It reminded me of A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, which I adore. We'll talk about that one later. So of course, I'm going to like this one. This is an A. Wind in the Willows. Not to be confused with the 2016 West End musical, The Wind in the Willows. Various anthropomorphic creatures have various adventures. Oh, I had such high hopes after listening to the song Evil Weasel early on in the show, but then it just became kind of blah. I was kind of wondering why this one didn't have a Wikipedia page on its own. And now I get it. This is a C. Plus? Mayor! A Day in the Life of New York City Mayor Ed Koch is portrayed in song. Seriously, how many musicals are there going to be about New York City mayors? I think it was a genuinely good listen, but I cannot remember it now, nor do I care to. I give it a C. Plus? Big Deal. A group of men plan to rob a pawn shop, but many obstacles get in their way. The music is all popular songs from the 1920s and 30s, so if you like that music, I guess you're going to like this. I couldn't pay attention, though. This is a D. Honky Tonk Nights. From Playville.com, a black vaudeville troupe moves from Hell's Kitchen to Harlem, with its star duo getting some additional opportunities from white show business that require personal compromise and threaten to tear them apart. You know what I'm gonna say. It was fine, but I remember nothing from it. This is a C. Me and My Girl. A man finds out he's in succession to be the Earl, so he murders everyone preceding him. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. He trains himself to become a gentleman. I remember nothing from the show, except for one song, because I sang it in a voice lesson once. I give it a D. Rags. A family of immigrants try to make it in America. Say it with me now. It was fine, but I remember nothing from it. I give it a C. Raggedy Ann. A girl's toys come to life to find a doctor who can fix her broken heart. This show did that thing again where I didn't care for it at first, but then I got turned around by the second act. I'm gonna have to listen to this one again eventually. I give it a B. And that is all the musicals for the month of July. The month of August covers the years 1986 to 1995. That's right. We traveled 10 whole years. This is the fastest we've ever traveled in the period of a month in this challenge so far. So let's just, I'm gonna adjust this camera a little bit. Let's just hop right into it. Into the Light. A physicist tries to find the truth behind a Turin shroud, straining his relationship with his family. The audio experience of this one is rough. Imagine, if you will, taking a radio and sticking it underwater with your head. Anyway, I immediately wiped it from my memory. This is a D. Smile! Drama happens behind the scenes of a teenage beauty pageant. This show is actually so good. And you're telling me that no recording was ever made and the album that is on Spotify is technically the demo recording intended for licensing purposes? I'm appalled! This is an A! Oh, coward! It's a review, with songs following the theme of England, family, travel, theater, love, and women. I'm really sick of musical reviews. Perhaps even more so than all of the C and D tier musicals. But anyway, this one was fine. It's 55 tracks, so I won't be listening to it again. This is a C. Stepping Out. A tap dance class gets better. I think that's about right. It was fine, but I remember nothing from it. This is a C. The Mikado. It's a Gilbert and Sullivan opera. I'm not even going to try to summarize this one. The music was probably fine, but I don't think I'm an opera fan. Also not a fan of desatirizing British culture by using Japan as an exoticized mockery, but that's a discussion for another day. This is a D. Les Miserables. A man is released from prison on parole after 19 years and tries to turn his life around. Also, June Rebellion and stuff? Are you kidding me? It's Les Mis. The music, iconic. The musical transition from Do You Hear the People Sing to In My Life, my favorite. The usage of leitmotifs, excellent. My personal favorite is the 10th anniversary recording, but I can see merit in the other ones too. This is obviously an S tier. I have no clue what else it would be. Starlight Express. It's a bunch of trains. It's such a strange, bizarre, emotional journey that has strange lyrics and reeks of the 80s. And yet, I kind of vibe with it. Someone on the Discord server has a very long PowerPoint presentation about the history of Starlight Express, which is very fascinating and I think really is helpful to enjoying this show. So I'll link that below if she lets me. Anyways, this is an A. Rosa. This is directly from the Wikipedia page. The story follows Rosa, a former prostitute who now operates a temporary home for children of prostitutes until they can be adopted or reclaimed by their mothers. It was fine. Some songs were even pretty decent, but I remember nothing from it. This is a C. Plus, late night comic. Drama happens between a songwriter, dancer, and stand-up comedian. I quite enjoyed this one. I don't think it's an A-tier musical, but it has a lot of charm and some good tunes. This is a B. Into the Woods. A bunch of fairy tale characters go into the woods for various reasons. Ugh. Perfection. Genius. Masterful. There's a YouTube video by Sideways that I'll put in the description that describes the genius behind it better than I ever could. This is an S tier. Obviously. Teddy and Alice. President Theodore Roosevelt has trouble with his daughter Alice. Some of the songs were pretty fun, and others were very forgettable. Some of the music is adapted from John Philip Sousa music, so the Act 1 finale was adapted from Starship Stripes Forever, which, as you know, is the only America-related song I like. So how dare they? This is a B. Minus. The Phantom of the Opera. A young woman becomes a star in an opera house tutored by a deformed man. Oh, Andrew Lloyd Webber. I love the music of this show. It holds a very special place in my heart, especially since it was the first Broadway show as a tiny 14-year-old. And Christine is forever my top dream role. But I don't know if I can put it on the S tier. The motifs are sometimes overused, and a lot of the show really just uses the same few melodies over and over again. Oh, but I do love this show so much. Also, I have very strong opinions about the 25th anniversary production making the choice to have Christine be sad about leaving the Phantom so they could set up Love Never Dies, but that is a rant for another day. This is an A+. Stardust. It's a review. Andre De Shields is in this one. Fun. But, yeah. It's fun enough. I won't be listening to it again. This is a B-. Serafina! A group of students hold an uprising, drama ensues. It was only 38 minutes, but it was the longest 38 minutes of my life. I think the music in the musical should somewhat tell the story in some aspect, and I just didn't get that here. Also, a lot of it sounded the same. I give it a D. The Gospel at Colonus. You know Oedipus Rex? You know Antigone? This is Oedipus at Colonus, in between those two plays. But gospel. I think it was interesting enough, but 1, I've heard enough gospel musicals, and 2, I really don't remember much from it besides some extremely high notes. This is a C. Mail. From Playbill.com. A struggling writer who has disappeared for 4 months returns to read his mail, which comes to life singing and dancing. I was incredibly charmed by the first song, and then the rest of it kind of went up and down. Overall, I'd say it's worth a go. I give it a B. Chess. Two chess grandmasters duel it out in a tournament, and also over a woman, and also it's set during the Cold War. I quite enjoyed this one a lot. I can see why it's so popular. I do think I'll have to enjoy it at a later date when I'm not as musical brain dead. I give it an A. Romance, romance. The first act is a wealthy couple who falls in love by pretending to be poor. The second act is two people from different marriages starting an affair. 2 shows in 1. Fun! I didn't care too much for the first act. Second act was slightly better, but I stopped caring halfway through. That's a D for the first act and a C for the second act, so let's average that and go with a C-. Anything goes. A stowaway and an heiress fall in love on a boat. Look, I like Cole Porter as much as the next person, but it's really not for me. Also not a fan of the plot point where they disguise themselves as an Asian character, but again, that is a conversation for another day. This is a B. Carrie. A bully teenage girl with paranormal powers takes revenge on her classmates at prom. I actually quite enjoyed this one a lot. A few songs were a bit meh for me, but overall a good time. I give it an A. Legs Diamond. A mobster tries to break into the show business. Shenanigans ensue. Apparently, the reviews for Peter Allen, who wrote the music and starred as the lead, were so terrible, the Nederlander organization ended up selling the theater venue. Haha, he must have been a terrible actor because I actually kind of really like the music. Sure, they weren't all hits, but that opening number was so enticing, and I had a good time. I give it a B. Jerome Robbins' Broadway. The Wikipedia page says it's an anthology, but let's not lie to ourselves. It's a review. This thing is 2 hours long and has songs from shows we've already listened to. Needless to say, I was not pleased. But, you know, I like the shows they used, so it's a B, I guess. Welcome to the club. From Playbill.com. 4 divorced men commiserate over their marriages while locked up in alimony jail. Frank Rich from the New York Times called it embarrassingly out of touch with the present-day realities of men, women, sex, marriage, and divorce. A lot of the show does scream, "Ugh, women, am I right?" And most of the music is meh. The song Mother-in-Law is kind of catchy, though. Not gonna lie. I give it a D. Plus? Star Mites. A teenage girl creates a fantasy world with science fiction superheroes. I thought it was quite charming, albeit not the greatest in the world. I think it would be fun for smaller stages to produce, but not necessarily Broadway. I give it a B. Black and Blue. It's a review of black music in Paris between World War I and World War II. The music was fine enough, but I've definitely heard some of it in previous reviews. How many times will we hear "'Tain't nobody's business if I do"? Only time will tell. This is a B. Also, swing. Aim don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing. Do-wop, 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 do-wop. City of Angels. A man writes a noir film as it happens on stage. I didn't explain it well. You see, the screenplay is like an allegory for his life, and then there's like intersections. Anyway, I never know how to feel about Cy Coleman music because it's good, but I'm not really a fan of it. But I actually like this one a lot, so I don't know why I told you that. This is an A. Meet Me in St. Louis. A family gets to shenanigans in St. Louis. I think it was fine. I can get why people would like it, and it's charming enough, but it's not for me. I give it a B. Prince of Central Park. A 12-year-old runaway and middle-aged divorced woman begin corresponding through chalk messages on a park bench. Frank Rich's New York Times review is so legendary, it was put in the Wikipedia article, so I feel that I must share some of it with you. Prince of Central Park, the new musical at the Belasco, is a numbing evening of such guileless amateurism that it will probably have a future as a Harvard Business School case study, whatever its fate in the annals of drama. Even modest Broadway shows like this cost more money than the gross national products of some third-world nations. People put up this money. As long as there are people as gullible as the sponsors of Prince of Central Park, the theater never need fear for its survival. Anyway, I couldn't tell you anything about the show. There were 2 separate incidents of maybe like 20 seconds that I got interested and enjoyed it, but I remembered nothing else. This is a D. Grand Hotel. Shenanigans happen with a motley crew in a hotel. I quite enjoyed this one. Again, I think I would enjoy it when I'm not so musical brain dead and stressed out. This is an A. Chu Chem. Look, I usually like trying to put synopsis in my own words, but this one is something else. From Playbill.com. A scholar and his daughter journey to Kaifeng-Fu, China, for traces of the Jewish immigrants who settled there 800 years earlier. While they are there, a prince falls for the daughter, but she refuses to become a part of his traditional harem. I don't know how a show manages to offend both Asians and Jewish people, but somehow they did it here. Haha. I stopped by the 6th song. This is an F. Aspects of love. A man recalls the past love of his life, and oh boy, does it get worse the further along it goes. Oh, Andrew Lloyd Webber. I couldn't care less for the music. It's D tier, but let's talk about the plot. By the end of the 2nd act, a 15-year-old girl, who, mind you, we saw earlier in the show at 12, has romantic feelings for the main character. And he's like 34 at this point. And he doesn't say, no, this is wrong. He says something like, he showed it, but he does. Ah! This is an F. We made it to the 90s. Senator Joe. It's about Joseph McCartney. That's all I could find. The music is a mess. There's a song where they talk about McCarthy's liver, and the ensemble plays characters like Enzyme and Fatty Deposit. And they transition to the song by saying, speaking of organs, as an organ accompanies them. There's a fascinating article by The Vulture about how much of a disaster the show was both on and off stage, and my God. Don't get me wrong, it's terrible, but I did pay attention to it because of how bad it was, and that is slightly better than a boring show. So I give it a C. Once on this island, a young woman falls in love with a man she rescues from a storm and leaves her home to go after him. It's like The Little Mermaid, but on an island and with classism and colorism. Oh my God. I love the music of this show so much. It's been one of my favorites for years now. Hot take, I love Lea Salonga, but she definitely should not have been in a revival. Also, this show shouldn't be the default for white theater people to suggest a black performance, but that's a discussion for another day. This is an A. Buddy, the Buddy Holly story. Buddy Holly rises to fame and meets a really tragic end. My God, I knew nothing about Buddy Holly before today, and reading about it just made me very sad. I mean, if you like Buddy Holly music, you're gonna have a good time, but I think it was fine. I give it a B. James Clavell's Shogun, the musical. An English sea captain falls in love with a Japanese noblewoman. Fun fact, the original production in Washington, D.C. was 3.5 hours long. They ended up converting a lot of the songs into dialogue for Broadway, and honestly, thank God. The music is fine. I remember nothing from it. This is a D. Miss Saigon, an American GI and Vietnamese girl who is 17, mind you, fall in love amidst the end of the Vietnam War. This one was a tough one. I used to love Miss Saigon, adored it, but I think part of it is because I had dreams of being on Broadway, and I thought that this was my only way of doing so, and I was just so excited to see a Vietnamese character in a musical. But now I am older, and I think that we can do better. We have to do better. We don't need to have white saviors and composers horribly misinterpreting the Vietnamese language for lyrics and tragic endings for characters who look like me. We deserve better. But, I love the music so much. It's so well done. That's always the problem, isn't it? I give it a B. The Secret Garden. A girl is sent to live with her uncle after her parents die from cholera, and they bring a garden back to life. This one was nice. Lily's Eyes is a standout song. I can't say it's one of my personal favorites, though. This is a B. The Will Rogers Follies. A man tells the story of his life within the context of the Ziegfeld Follies. The music is pretty fun. I didn't have a terrible time. Do I think it deserved a Tony Award for Best Musical in a season that included Miss Saigon and Once on This Island? No. This is a B. Okay. A bootlegger falls in love, I guess. This is a revival of a show from 1926. I mean, if you like Gershwin, you're going to like this one. I think it's fine enough. I give it a B. A Change in the Air. Two branches of a royal family raise their children as the opposite genders to try to gain the crown. Comedy ensues, I guess. The audio is extremely quiet and muffled, which I guess forced my hand because I had to stop listening to it. This is, unfortunately, an F. Nick and Nora. A high society couple try to solve a murder. I think it was fine. I don't remember it, though. This is a C. Crazy for You. A banker falls in love with a woman and produces a theater show to try to save it from closing. Or something like that. You know, it's a very strange feeling listening to Gershwin musicals almost back to back. I'll say the same thing as I did for OK. If you like Gershwin, you're going to like this one. I think it's fine enough. I give it a B. Five Guys Named Mo. A man going through a breakup finds comfort in music performed by 5 guys named Mo. Some of the songs are a bit, ugh, women, am I right? But I guess that makes diegetic sense. The music is incredibly good and I genuinely enjoyed it. So this is an A. The High Roller Social and Pleasure Club. It's a review of New Orleans music. Huh? Why are reviews still happening in 1992? Weren't they supposed to die out of popularity or something? That said, this was a fun time. The slime tutorial is on YouTube and it's only an hour and a half, so it's worth checking out. I give it a B. Falsettos. A man leaves his wife to be with his gay lover. Drama ensues. This was my first time listening to falsettos all the way through. And, that ending racked me. I see why people like it now. This is an S tier. Hooray. Metro. A group of teens who live in subway tunnels decide to put on a musical in the train station. Drama ensues. Fun fact, this is a Polish musical. It was a hit in Warsaw, which is why it got a Broadway production the following year. I don't know how to describe the music. Rock? It's a very different sound, which I always welcome. Don't know if I would listen to it again, though. This is a B. Jelly's Last Jam. The originator of jazz music looks back on his life after his death. I quite enjoyed this one, but I can't say I'll be listening to it again. This is a B. Anna Karenina. A married woman falls in love with another man. Drama ensues. It's Anna Karenina. I thought it was fine. I think it's a very difficult task to condense an entire Leo Tolstoy novel into a 2-hour show. I remember none of the music, though. So this is a C. My favorite year. And a sketch writer has to make sure an actor is sober by the time he gets on set. Comedy ensues. I don't know how to describe the music. It's the most stereotypical musical theater album I've ever heard. The dialogue with the underscored music, the big brass orchestrations, you know? Anyway, I did the thing again where I got invested by Act 2, so, this is a B. The Goodbye Girl. A man sublets an apartment to find his friend's ex-girlfriend still living there. Drama ensues, probably. It was fine. I remember nothing from it. This is a C. Ain't Broadway Grand. A Broadway producer takes a failing musical and turns it into a star vehicle for a comedian. Oh, it's about the industry. Waiting in the Wings is a standout, otherwise I couldn't tell you anything about it. This is a C. The Who's Tommy. A boy experiences a traumatic event leaving him deaf, dumb, and blind. The music is from Tommy, the album by The Who, so if you like them, you're gonna like this. I can't say it's for me, though. I give it a B. This is the point where I got caught up on all the musicals I was behind on, and I began going back to the normal 2 musicals a day schedule. Oh, I was so happy. So happy. Oba Oba 93. It's a review of Brazilian music. A recording of the tour is on YouTube, but I will say aspects of it are definitely not for kids. The music is fun and the dancing is a sight to behold, but I can't say I'll remember any of it or be bothered to revisit it. This is a B. Blood Brothers. 2 brothers raised in different households pine after the same woman. Tragedy follows. I can see why people would like it, but it's not really for me. I give it a B. Kiss of the Spider-Woman. A man in prison imagines a woman starring in various movies. Also, there's other stuff, too. I really enjoyed this one. One moment that stood out to me was the last moment in the show. Just that final chord was very effective. I give it an A. A Grand Night for Singing. It's a review of Rodgers and Hammerstein music. The music is good, obviously. It's all the hits of Rodgers and Hammerstein, but can I really put this at an A? No. I give it a B. Plus. Passion. A soldier is changed by the obsessive love of his cousin. Yes! They're cousins! Anyway, I really liked it, and I want to listen to it again, but not in the way to, re-rank it or anything, but, to genuinely enjoy it when I'm not as musical brain dead. I give it an A. The Red Shoes. A ballet dancer is conflicted between 2 men and her love of dance. I literally can't tell you a thing about the music. I cared so little for it. This is a D. Beauty and the Beast. A young woman is taken hostage by a prince who is transformed into a beast. It's Beauty and the Beast. I'm pretty sure you know this one. Uh-oh. Look. I love the Disney movie. And the music, iconic. I just don't think I like the musical. Sorry, the songs added into the musical just don't do it for me, okay? So this is a B. The Best Little Whorehouse goes public. A woman is asked by the IRS to run a brothel in Las Vegas, but a conservative politician tries to close it. Remember The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas? If you couldn't guess from the title, this is a sequel. Why do people think musicals need sequels? They don't. They really don't. I couldn't tell you one thing about the music. I liked one dance break from one song. That's it. This is a D. Cyrano, the musical. Not to be confused with the 1973 musical Cyrano. A man charms a woman through writing letters while his friend serves as a face. It's Cyrano de Bergerac. I don't know if you could tell, but I used the exact same story synopsis that I did for Cyrano, for Cyrano the musical. I'll be honest, I got incredibly bored with this one and didn't even make it past the first act. This is an F. Smokey Joe's Cafe. It's a review of 39 pop standards, according to Wikipedia. I actually quite enjoyed listening to it, and I ended up listening to it twice because I accidentally played it on shuffle. Would I listen to it a third time? Maybe. I give it an A-. And finally, oh my god, finally, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. 2 showgirls try to get husbands on a luxury cruise. We almost missed this one because it opened in 1949, but that dang 1995 revival brought it in. Remember when I said the musical Lorelei had the same music but a different book? I don't think I really enjoyed it the second time around. This is a B. And that is all the musicals from June, July, and August. And that is all I will do for this mega ranking video. I've been talking now for an hour and a half straight. Editing this is going to be fun. Anyways, we're gonna go back to the normal Broadway 2-day schedule. You know, I'll have a normal September ranking video out next month. And hopefully in September, I also have a personal project that I've been working on for a very long time that will be released into the internet. So I'm excited for that as well. Okay. I think I'm going to go listen to more musicals now, but at a normal rate this time. Okay, bye!